Hey guys, welcome back to DCS and welcome back to the Red Air series and the DCS MiG-15bis guys. So today we're going to be looking at the air-to-ground capabilities of the MiG-15bis. Now the MiG-15bis, in my opinion, is a pure air-to-air fighter. Its air-to-ground capabilities are secondary, and it's not really meant to be an air-to-ground kind of an airplane. So it can carry either two 50 kilogram bombs or two 100 kilogram bombs. Those are very, very small bombs, and they have very, very limited amount of damage that they can cause. And also we have the cannons, the 37 millimeter as well as the 23 millimeter cannon. Now historically the MiG-15 was capable of carrying dumbfire air-to-ground rockets. I'm not sure why we don't have that within DCS world. The MiG-15 was able to carry rockets, and rockets would enhance the air-to-ground capabilities of the MiG-15. Now, for the bombs, when you want to drop the bombs and use the guns, you want to have the circuit breakers on. So for the bombs, you gotta have this circuit breaker on, the NR23 for the 23 millimeter, the NR37 for the 37, as well as the gun sight. Okay. And when you want to drop the bombs, you gotta have this switch in the on position, okay, the tactical release switch. So you get this light here. And to arm the cannons, I've already armed the cannons. You can see we have 3 red lights, all labeled here. You want to hold down these 3 buttons for 2 seconds each, and then you have the cannons ready. And you also want to have this flip up all the way to the bottom, okay. So this flip thing switch has to be flipped up. Now guys, I have some targets down there by that plume of smoke. You have 2 tanks, a Sherman, a Panther, and a couple of transport trucks. We're going to basically drop the bombs on the Panther tank and strafe the Sherman and the trucks with the cannons. Now in the manual it says to basically begin a dive onto the target at around 2,000 to 2,200 meters at a dive angle of about 35 to 40 degrees. And it says to release the bombs looking at here at the front of the fuselage, the nose of the aircraft, as soon as the target approaches and you want to release. And I have 2 problems with that. One, this artificial horizon, as soon as you bank more than 45 degrees, it stops working. So this thing is pretty much useless. So there's no way for you to determine accurately what your angle of dive is, really. And secondly, 2,000 meters to 2,200 meters, in my opinion, is too low. It doesn't give you enough time to correct yourself onto the target. So I'd say we should dive at around 3,000 to 3,500 meters at a speed of no more than 400 kilometers an hour. And instead of looking at the nose or the front of the fuselage, we should wait for the target to disappear behind the gun sight here. Okay, so right there, as soon as it disappears, you can release the bombs. Now the higher the dive angle, guys, the better results you're going to get. As I said, this is not what the MiG-15 is supposed to do. It's not a air-to-ground aircraft. It's just a secondary role for it to perform. Now the manual does have some pretty good stuff about the air-to-ground gunnery. Now it says if you're attacking a target that is bigger than 14 meters, you should go ahead and set the wingspan, set the size of the target here on the wingspan indicator. However, if it's smaller than 14 meters, you should just leave it at 14, okay? And then, with the throttle twist grip, set the distance to about the maximum 800 meters, okay? Now, as soon as the target fills up about 2/3 of this circle here, you can begin firing. And I've found that to be very, very accurate for the air-to-ground cannons. Okay, so other than that, let's go ahead and try to attack some ground targets, guys. Now it's important to watch your speed. If you're too fast, the bombs will miss and it will basically overfly the target. Okay, so you need to watch out for that. Now I'm going to drop to about 3,500 meters. And then we can begin our dive. Now I will dive on the target as soon as the target comes up to here of the cockpit canopy, not this side, but here on the front left, as soon as it gets here, the target is here, I'll do a dive on it, okay? Let's go ahead and find our targets. There they are. The Sherman is on the left. I mean, the Panther is on the left, the Sherman is on the right, and there's a whole row of trucks here. And let's begin our dive. Idling the throttle. We're aiming for the right spec, which is the Panther tank. Now, as soon as it disappears underneath the gun sight, we'll release the bomb. Oh, long. The bomb was long. And you know why? Because of the airspeed. My airspeed was a little too high. If I was around 500, 550 kilometers an hour, those bombs would have been a lot closer. But nonetheless, guys, as I said, this is not an air-to-ground airplane, okay? So, like, for those of you who have real-world knowledge of this, like, if in the 50s, like for MiG-15, I don't think the instructors would expect you to get a pinpoint direct hit onto a tank-sized target, right? In my opinion, they would ask a pilot in an aircraft such as this to get the ordnance within its splash radius of the target. So get the target within the splash radius of the ordnance, right? And that would be considered good enough. I don't think they would be asking for a pinpoint direct attack with an aircraft such as this. Nonetheless, let's get using the cannons now. So I'm going to go for a strafing run on the Panther. So the same target, this time with the 37mm cannon. Again, with the cannons, you want to have some altitude as well. You don't want to be too shallow. And then you also want to idle the throttle as well. But the F-86 Sabre, guys, is way more advanced for its air-to-ground capabilities than the MiG-15. Once we get around to do the F-86 Sabre, you guys will see it's far beyond the MiG-15 in its capabilities in air-to-ground. So we're gonna wait for that Panther to be to basically occupy 2/3 of that gun sight. There we go. That was a little too shallow, in my opinion. I didn't like this approach. I didn't like it. I had to be a little higher for the angle. Next, we're going to strafe those trucks. Okay, guys. So here we are. We're at a much higher altitude now, and we're going to begin strafing the trucks on the left-hand side. Now this would be much better than the previous attack on the Panther with the 37. Again, we're using the 37mm for the trucks. Much better dive angle. There we go, much better. Okay guys, so getting ready to dive on the Sherman now. So that's the left-hand tank. This time we're going to deploy, not only idle the throttle, but deploy the air brakes as well, because we're at quite a sharp angle. However, this should be much more accurate. As you can see, the dive angle is much greater. Pulling up. Obviously, the 23mm cannons wouldn't do much damage to a tank. However, the 37mm cannon should be able to punch through the top armor of a World War II tank. Again, diving on the Sherman. We shouldn't have much 37mm ammo left, so we'll use all of it. There we go. Very good hits on top of the tank as well as the front. Okay, that's about it, guys. That's about it for the air-to-ground capabilities of the MiG-15bis. Now, if you want to get really good at this, you have to practice. You have to practice, and it all depends on your dive angle and your airspeed, okay? You need to get more familiar with the aircraft and how it handles and stuff like that in order to be better at air-to-ground capabilities of the MiG-15bis. Now, as I said, this is not an air-to-ground aircraft, really. It is mainly an air-to-air aircraft. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. And remember, if you like this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.